Okay, today we're at Auto Guangzhou, or the Guangzhou Auto Show. Today's the media day, so it's where the brands will be unveiling their new cars they have to show. Now, traditionally, for a long time in China, Guangzhou wasn't a big show and not a lot of car unveilings really happened here. But in recent years, since kind of COVID, Guangzhou has become a more important auto show in China, about 4 or 5 months out from the big one, Beijing, Shanghai. So more and more companies are actually showcasing their new vehicles here rather than waiting for Beijing, Shanghai Auto Show. Anyway, let's go and see what's been unveiled today. And this is a wrap-up video of Guangzhou Auto. Okay, so behind me is the Xpeng Aerot modular flying car, or at least part of it, hence the modular in its name. This is the flying car part of it. They actually did a demonstration today here at Guangzhou Auto. They also did one the other day at Zhuhai Air Show. It's very cool. There's a lot of interest around this. I think it kind of sparks a lot of like childish imagination of flying cars. And over here, this is actually the vehicle, okay, the car part of that modular car, and the kind of drone, the flying car, will fold up and fit in the rear of this car and be carried around, and I believe also can be charged up. It's 6 wheels, big heavy duty kind of van. Very cool, very futuristic. Very cool. Xpeng pilot team for flying the drones. Not anybody is allowed to fly them yet. Hopefully in the future I'll get my chance in one. Welcome to BYD-land. Here at Guangzhou Auto Show, BYD have a whole hall to themselves. There's BYD and all of its other brands, Denza, FCB Bao and Yangwang, all in one area. Behind me is the new BYD Xia. It's a full-size MPV from BYD. It's a little bit shorter than the more premium-orientated Denza D9, but it is on the 5th generation DMI platform, so it's powered by electric motors and a 1.5 litre turbo motor. It's super busy as usual with a BYD release. People inside and outside of the car will try to get some B-roll. The BYD Xia comes with Denza C electromagnetic suspension. Think adaptive suspension without air springs. It's the same system found on the new BYD Han and Tan and will allow you to adjust the softness of the suspension. Obviously, comfort is a big priority in the MPV space, and I'm sure BYD will be hoping that they'll be able to shift even more units of this than they are the Denza D9, which is doing really well for an MPV. Here is the FCB Bao 8 or FCB Bao 8. The second model from this BYD brand, with the Bao 5 being the first, and it's been quite successful. I mean, I personally quite like the Bao 5 all in black. This is an EREV. It's got a 2 litre turbo engine, but its wheels are driven by its 2 electric motors, 200 kilowatts up front and 300 kilowatts in the rear, with a total of 700 Newton meters of torque, and that's good for 0 to 100 in 4.8 seconds. So the Yangwang U8 gets tank turns, the Denza Z9 gets compass turning, and the U9 gets to kind of jump and wiggle around, and the Bao 8 comes with its own party trick. It's called Violent Mode, and that is a mode that will allow this to deliver peak torque at as little as just 2 kilometers an hour. It's kind of impressive. BYD continuing to come up with new ways to destroy tires. They also say that they're going to push that via OTA to the Bao 5 right at the end of this year on December 31st. Okay, so big news for the Bao 8, addressing one of maybe BYD's weaker parts of its product, and that's ADAS. This supposedly is coming with Huawei's new 3.0 ADS, which means out of the box, this should have pretty decent highway and city ADAS. Many people in China say that Huawei's ADAS-equipped systems are the best. So we can see up here, we've got different sensors in order to help it deliver, hopefully, very good ADAS. So you can have this as a 7-seater or a 6-seater in a 2 formation. Someone's trying to climb in the back there. This second row, decent amount of space.
Can I see it? Thank you.
The third row looks somewhat tight, but still usable. There's also a multitude of different screens in here in the front row, as well as in the rear. It's got these very strange kind of, I don't know how to call them. They almost just look like someone stuck 2 mobile phones down here in the center console. Behind me is the Denza N9, a full-size SUV. It's over 5.2 meters long. It's got a wheelbase over 3 meters, and it's a heavy boy. This is over 3 tons. You can see by the side profile that it is, you know, quite big and squarish, so you'd expect quite a lot of space on the inside. Now, in terms of power, sorry, it might be a bit loud here, a lot of people here, very popular. This whole hall is for BYD and BYD brands, and every single release they've had today has been absolutely flooded by people. Now, in terms of power, this is a hybrid model. It's got a 2-liter turbo with 152 kilowatts output, but it also has what Denza and BYD call its E3 drivetrain, which is tri-motor. So it's got a single motor up front and 2 motors in the rear for a total of 680 kilowatts. I'm not sure whether or not it could do a compass turn like the Z9, but I'm pretty sure that output is, if not exactly the same, very similar to what the Z9 GT has. Now you can also see up top, obviously it's got a LiDAR. This is BYD's, you know, more premium brand. It's above the BYD brand, below the Yangwang brand. But at this kind of price point where this is going to sit, you know, advanced ADAS features are a must. I quite like it. I quite like the look of it. I really like this green color. Down the side, things very, very handsome. The front end, the Denza logo is kind of really big. I'm not a big fan of that. But other than that, not a bad looking SUV at all. Behind me, I know what you're thinking, well, that's not new. We've already seen the Z9 GT, but this is new. This is a Z9 sedan. So everything you know about the Z9 GT, except it's a sedan in the rear. So again, it's that E3 powertrain, the tri-motors, 1 up front and 2 in the rear, or you can have it as a hybrid with an engine up front as well. The interior is going to be pretty much similar to the Z9 GT. Massively popular, I can't get anywhere near it. Look at the Z9 GT. This is basically that, but just with a sedan trunk. Behind me is a Yangwang U7. There's a quad motor, super sedan. Again, a lot of people trying to shoot this. BYD, very popular. It's got around 1,300 horsepower, and it will do 0 to 100 kilometers in 2.9 seconds. So super quick for a sedan. Now, this obviously is still running BYD Blade batteries underneath here, but it's got 800 volt charging. So it's like 10 to 80% in, I think, 15 minutes. I'll put it up on the screen. In terms of battery size, it's 135.5 kilowatt hour BYD Blade batteries, and it's pretty slippery. It's got a drag coefficient of 0.195 coefficient. Now, for suspension, it says, I'm pretty sure this is new. I'm pretty sure we didn't hear this on the DSUS launch. It has BYD DSUS Z suspension, which it says is replacing traditional hydraulic shocks, and it's able to adjust the suspension in 10 milliseconds. Gonna cost a bomb, obviously. But if you want 4 doors and go fast and you're a big fan of BYD and LFP batteries, this could be the car for you. Okay, so that's it for BYD and all of its brands today. You can see behind me there is a Monkey King here because Hey Wukong, the video game, is very popular these days in China, so there's a lot of branding going on. As you've seen today, all the unveilings from BYD and all of its brands have been super popular, people crawling all over them. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to review them here on the channel, so be sure to drop a like and subscribe so you can see when we get to actually drive some of these. Oh, and actually there's a very interesting BYD branded vehicle coming to the channel hopefully soon, so definitely subscribe. Behind me is the Aion UT. It's a small kind of city car with a similar size to the ID.3. Now, you can think of it as an ID.3 rival because this is the second model designed by Aion that is designed for global markets, so it should be going overseas at some point. In China, it starts under $14,000.
100 kilowatts of peak power, perfect for a little city car. In terms of batteries, we know it will be equipped with an LFP, but no word on sizes yet, though a picture Aion released showed 600 kilometers at 75% charge, but I think that might be a little over optimistic.
Okay, so in here, the materials seem good enough for this price point. It's actually got a mix of materials in here. The seats have kind of what I guess is fake leather, but they've also got some kind of fabric inserts as well. Overall, seems like a clean little interior for a clean little car. Okay, so behind me, this is the Hyptec HL. Now, Hyptec was formerly called Hyper, and now it's Hyptec as in HYPTEC, because misspelling is cool and edgy. Not sure about the new name, but it is what it is. Now, this is a new full-size SUV from this brand. It's over 5.1 meters long, with a wheelbase of over 3 meters. It's a 2+2+2, so a 6-seat configuration.
Up front, this has interactive LEDs recessed into the front end, including a recessed LED daytime running light, and there are large dominating headlights up front.
It sits on an 800-volt architecture, they say, suitable for 5C charging. We don't have that much information yet. We know that it's going to be available as a pure electric and as a hybrid. They say for the pure electric version, it will do 750 kilometers. And for the hybrid, it's going to do 1,200 kilometers. But that's obviously on the Chinese test cycle. It's going to be optional with a dual motor all-wheel drive variant, and standard should be rear-wheel drive. It's got a LiDAR on the roof, and it's going to come with their Generation 6 ADAS. In terms of kind of market placement, this is going to be like a Li Auto or Aito kind of competitor with an EREV and a pure electric version. The 6-seat layout. There's also a screen in the rear of this as well, but we can't get inside to take the B-roll, so just trust me, it's got one. Okay, so behind me is the GAC S7. It's a good looking SUV, big, so a full size. But I think it's good looking because it kind of looks like a Range Rover.
This is actually branded as a Trumpchi S7. It's a plug-in hybrid with over 1,000 kilometers of mixed range, all-wheel drive, 5 seats, and LiDAR-equipped L2 Plus ADAS. The lights up front use interactive LEDs, a kind of smaller version of Zeekr's Starlight.
So this is the Leapmotor B10. It's quite important for those in Europe because this was designed ground up with global markets in mind. It sits on Leapmotor's new B platform, which is a smaller platform than the C platform, which cars like their C10 and the ridiculously good value 6-seater C16 sits on. And we reviewed both of those cars. Size-wise, this is kind of BMW X1 size, so it's definitely more compact than the C10, which should be a preferable size for Europeans at least. In China, yeah, I mean, this is not going to be an expensive car. It's kind of going to be in the 100 to 150,000 RMB price range, so starting around $14,000 here in China. It's expected to use the same 69.9 kilowatt hour battery that we find in the C10. And although an EREV version is expected in the future, this is going to launch first as just a pure EV and expect ranges in the region of about 420 kilometers. This is not an official color. This is just some kind of wrap for the auto show, kind of strange, kind of like art brush stroked wrap, but whatever. Okay, that's it for the Guangzhou Auto Show today. I didn't feel like we got into many cars today. It was very busy here. Personally, auto shows are interesting. You get to see new unveilings, but I still prefer shooting full reviews. So if you'd like to see reviews of the cars that were here today, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel.